You've been lied to about gaslighting. In this video, I'll reveal 10 unmistakable signs of gaslighting that trauma specialists have documented in thousands of cases. Once you recognize these tactics, you'll develop an immunity most people never build. Let's start with the most fundamental sign, something that happens in nearly every conversation with a gaslighter. Sign 1, reality denial. The first sign is reality denial, when someone systematically rejects facts you directly witnessed. Unlike normal liars, gaslighters deny obvious reality. I never said that. That never happened. You're imagining things. This isn't casual dishonesty. It's a calculated assault on your perception. When someone repeatedly contradicts your lived experience, your brain enters cognitive dissonance. Defending your reality becomes so exhausting that surrendering feels easier. Watch for people who consistently deny saying or doing things you clearly witnessed. This isn't forgetfulness. It's a deliberate attempt to destabilize your trust in your own mind. Real relationships are built on shared reality. Gaslighting creates a power imbalance where only their reality exists. The second sign reveals how gaslighters manipulate your memory itself, and it's even more insidious. Sign 2, historical revision. The second sign is historical revision, when they systematically rewrite your shared past to fit their narrative. They don't just deny events, they replace them with false alternatives that make you seem unreasonable. Memory is neurologically vulnerable. Each time we recall an experience, that memory briefly destabilizes. Gaslighters exploit this window by confidently inserting their false version, creating competing memory traces. They'll claim, "I've always supported your career," when they've sabotaged it, or "we agreed you'd handle the finances," when no such agreement existed. Pay attention to people who consistently reframe past events to absolve themselves. This isn't miscommunication, it's deliberate psychological manipulation. The third sign appears in how they actively sabotage your competence, a particularly damaging tactic. Have you ever felt increasingly unstable around certain people? Your subconscious was detecting this exact pattern. Let me make it conscious. Sign 3, sanity sabotage. The third sign is sanity sabotage, when they deliberately set you up to fail, then use those failures as evidence of your incompetence. They actively manufacture the proof they'll later use against you. They might hide your keys, then question why you're always losing things. Give you incorrect information, then blame you when things go wrong. Tamper with your belongings, then act concerned about your carelessness. It creates a vicious cycle. The more you question yourself, the more dependent you become on the gaslighter's reality. Notice if someone seems satisfied when you make mistakes. This isn't helpfulness. It's a power play. Gaslighters need you to fail because your self-trust threatens their control. The fourth sign reveals itself in how they distort your words, keeping you permanently defensive. Sign 4, word twisting. The fourth sign is word twisting, when they systematically misrepresent what you say beyond recognition. This isn't misunderstanding, it's deliberate distortion designed to exhaust you. You say you're tired, they claim you called them boring. You raise a concern, they say you called them a terrible person. You express a feeling, they transform it into an attack. This tactic creates defensive exhaustion. You spend so much energy clarifying what you actually said that the original issue never gets addressed. Eventually, you stop raising concerns altogether. Watch for patterns where conversations consistently derail into you defending your words, rather than resolving issues. If you frequently find yourself saying, "That's not what I meant," you're likely dealing with a word twister. Gaslighters weaponize misinterpretation to maintain control and avoid accountability. The fifth sign shows how they use other people against you, and it's devastatingly effective. Sign 5, social weaponization. The fifth sign is social weaponization. When they use other people as tools in their gaslighting campaign, it creates the illusion that multiple people share their distorted view of you. They'll say, "Everyone agrees with me," or "I talked to Sarah, she thinks you're overreacting." They might misrepresent conversations or turn others against you. Sometimes they'll stage public situations where you appear unstable. This works because humans are wired for social consensus. When it seems everyone else sees things differently, your brain's conformity circuits activate, creating profound self-doubt. Watch for people who frequently claim everyone shares their perspective, especially when you can't verify these claims. This isn't social feedback, it's isolation tactics. If someone consistently positions you as the irrational outlier, they're not describing reality, they're constructing it. Sign 6, emotional invalidation. The sixth sign is emotional invalidation, when they systematically dismiss or ridicule your feelings until you no longer trust them. Gaslighters specifically target emotions that threaten their control. They'll say, "You're too sensitive," "You're overreacting," or "That's not worth being upset about." They might laugh at your concerns or roll their eyes. Over time, you start hiding your feelings or apologizing for having them. This invalidation disrupts the connection between your emotional responses and your rational mind. Eventually, you become unable to identify, trust, or express your authentic feelings. Notice if you frequently apologize for your emotions or conceal them to avoid dismissal. In healthy relationships, emotions are treated as important information. Gaslighters treat your feelings as obstacles rather than valid experiences. The seventh sign shows how they use authority against you, particularly in professional relationships. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The next signs are often disguised as helpful behaviors. Your trust circuits are being exploited. Sign 7, expertise exploitation. The seventh sign is expertise exploitation, when they use credentials or specialized knowledge to override your perceptions. It's common with gaslighters who are doctors, lawyers, financial experts, or simply more experienced. They weaponize expertise with phrases like, "as someone who understands this," or "with my background, I know better than you." They position themselves as objective authorities while framing you as ignorant. This works because humans are predisposed to defer to perceived experts, questioning themselves before questioning authority figures. Watch if someone consistently uses their credentials to shut down your concerns rather than address them. Real expertise informs and empowers, it doesn't silence. If their expertise always supports their position and invalidates yours, it's not expertise, it's manipulation. The eighth sign disguises control as care, making it one of the hardest to recognize. Sign 8, compassionate controlling. The eighth sign is compassionate controlling, when they disguise gaslighting as concern for your well-being. It's difficult to identify because it masquerades as love. They'll say, "I'm only telling you this because I care," or "I'm worried about your mental health," while criticizing you. They might make decisions for you because you're not in a good place, or insist on correcting your perceptions out of concern. This tactic creates a double bind. Reject their help, and you seem ungrateful. Accept it, and you confirm you're incapable. Either way, they win. Notice if someone's care consistently results in them having more control while you have less autonomy. Genuine support helps you trust yourself more, not less. If their concern leaves you doubting your capabilities, it's not love. Sign 9, shifting standards. The ninth sign is shifting standards, when they constantly change the requirements for being believed or respected. No matter what you do, it's never right. If you're emotional, they say they can't talk until you're calm. When you're calm, they say you don't care enough. Without examples, you're being vague. With examples, you're nitpicking. The standards constantly evolve to ensure you can never meet them. This creates cognitive resource depletion, exhausting the mental bandwidth you need for critical thinking and self-advocacy. Eventually, you stop trying altogether. Notice if the rules for being heard consistently change in ways that keep you on the defensive. In healthy communication, the goal is mutual understanding. With gaslighters, the goal is your exhaustion and surrender. If someone moves the finish line more than they try to hear you, they're manipulating the conversation. The 10th sign reveals their most subtle tactic, how they maintain credibility while manipulating. Sign 10, truth trickle. The 10th sign is the truth trickle, when they strategically admit small truths to cover bigger lies. Instead of total denial, they concede minor points while continuing to distort the larger reality. They might admit, "Okay, maybe I did say that," but then add, "You completely misunderstood my intention," or "only because you provoked me." They acknowledge small facts but twist their meaning. These calculated admissions make them seem reasonable, building credibility while they continue the manipulation. It's particularly effective because it exploits your desire for resolution. Now that you know these 10 signs, you'll notice gaslighting tactics you once missed completely. Sometimes people use these techniques because they learned them in childhood, but intent doesn't erase damage. Gaslighting destroys authentic connection. The most powerful defense is awareness. When you can name the tactic, it loses much of its power over you. Remember, trusting your perception isn't just a psychological skill. It's your fundamental right. No one gets to rewrite your reality.